needs to review it, or any of the people that miss it or have to miss part of it. So welcome again. And as we get the meeting rolling here, does anybody have any announcements that they would like to share before we get started into the agenda? Tara.
So I'm going to send out an email from CCC PEKD, which is like the state organization for kinesiology discipline, about a business meeting and professional development. And also the executive team, we worked on a resolution to send to the state Senate about AB 928, which is where they're going to take the CSU and the UC transfer general ed pattern, and they're going to try to make it into one. And if that happens, then the area E, lifelong learning, is potentially on the chopping block, which is where a lot of kinesiology classes are in, like our health and wellness class, and other colleges. There's other kines classes, including physical activity classes, can be in there too. So that's a concern for our discipline. So we're trying to, advocate at a state level on that, and considering hiring a lobbyist on behalf of our discipline. So anyway, I'll share that with you later on today by email. And then we just finished up a yoga certificate promotional video for the program. We have one for the fitness certificate, and I'll send that out as well.
Thank you, Tara, and appreciate your work on those things. When did you say they were going to make that decision again?
Well, they're working on it right now, and the committee that's gathered together to make those decisions, there's no one from the community college system on that committee, so that's a problem. So we're trying to get the state academic senate to sort of rally behind making sure that we have a voice at the table. So there's other disciplines that are at risk as well. So we're trying to gather, them together so we can kind of look at this holistically. And I think that the decisions are kind of being made, but I think like next fall would be like a prime time to be advocating against that.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Any other announcements anybody would like to make? All right, well, let's go right into, I don't have a lot of information for you guys today, so my report's going to be kind of short. Summer schedule is up. You can see it. If there's stuff that you still need change, that has to happen like really quick, because registration's coming up fast for priority 1 people, and once people start getting enrolled, it sucks to have to make changes. So to put it bluntly, so if you please triple check your summer schedule, make sure I didn't make any mistakes, or make sure there hasn't been mistakes anywhere along the way, and so that we're all dialed in when summer school starts. The fall schedule, we submitted proof 1 about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to be fine tuning proof 2 probably next week. Matt and I are going to get together and finalize that, or at least get a final draft of proof 2 and then send it out to everybody so you can see. If you have questions about your load, I mean, one thing that I would recommend for all of you to do is to always know what your historic load is, and always know what your established load is. So for you adjuncts, it's knowing what your established load is, and for you full-timers, it's knowing what that historic load is, so that when we get into scheduling, it's just another set of eyes to make sure that we're getting you the load you deserve. If you're an adjunct, or if you're a full-timer, then we're make sure we're maintaining your historic load. So always kind of be familiar with those things, so you can kind of foresee what's coming up in the next semester. And sometimes people catch them, they say, hey, I looked at my historic load, and I might need another class next semester or this semester or whatever. And it's nice to know that information. I look at it, so does Matt, but always good to know for yourself that information. It's important. Any questions about the fall schedule or the summer schedule? Yes, Matt.
I actually want you guys to get that done this weekend if you can, because it's due to Sherry on Thursday. So you need to make sure that all our adjuncts in your schedules, you that are involved with scheduling and Paloma and dance and stuff, make sure that we're taking a look at that sooner rather than later, because it's actually due to me on Monday, and then it's supposed to get to Sherry on Thursday. So we have a couple days next week. I'm not worried about it getting to me, but I don't want to wait till Monday and get it Wednesday and have to do it by Thursday.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, faculty evaluations for the spring. Hopefully, those of you that are evaluators and those of you that are evaluees have connected, and you've either made the decision to do the self eval or a Zoom eval or an in-person eval, but you should be well on your way in that process already, and we've only got a little more than a month left of the semester, and so that paperwork is time sensitive, and they become null and void if we miss timelines. And so we want to make sure that we've always done a great job at this. You guys have always done a great job, so please get your information forwarded along so we can get all the signatures and get them in a timely manner. One thing that I just want to remind everybody that when we go back to classes in the summer and the fall, summer school, we're allowed to not have the big gaps in between classes. And so we're able to add back some classes that were face-to-face. And so just a reminder on stuff, please take a look, and if there's anything that's not right for your schedule in the summer, let me know. Hopefully over the weekend, and then special requests that were different than anything you requested for the fall, let me know as soon as possible as well. That's all I have to report on. We have our dean's report. So Matt, would you do you have anything to report on that you'd like to?
Sure. Thanks, Lenny. Good morning, everybody. Couple things. I did want to touch base on the schedule, so I'm glad Lenny brought that up. That's important to make sure that we get that in on time and make sure that everything's accurate as possible. I know there's always a few changes here and there. The other thing too is we do have, so you guys know, we do have a little bit more FTEF available that we are. So with COVID, it was kind of weird where we ended up moving so much FTEF around. We're in the process now of trying to even it back out so we could get roughly 20 FTEF per semester, and then have about 5 in the summer for the Santa Rosa individuals. So we do have a little bit extra if there are some classes that need to be added. We are being very careful not to add classes that we believe aren't going to fill, or just put stuff in there to put stuff in there, because we don't want to lose the FTF. If we don't schedule the FTF and it'll be counted as a credit reduction, but we'll get it back in the next year. But if we put it in there and potentially get it cut, I'm not sure what's going to happen if we're low enrollment. So we really got to be careful right now about productivity as we start back up and we start inching back towards getting fully open in the fall. And so that's important. So just know that if something comes up like, oh, we missed something, or someone didn't get the load they deserved or something like that, that's what we'll be adding back in. We're not adding classes right now with our enrollment that is so down just to add classes. We're going to be strategic about how we do it, and we're going to add classes where we maybe we miss someone that deserves a class or something like that. Okay, or if it makes sense, we could add something like if all of a sudden all of our Kines ones fill, we could throw in the late section if there's demand, and those are the type of important things that we want to add. We don't want to add classes that are going to struggle just to add classes to use up the FTF, because we won't lose it. Okay, hope that makes sense. So for the summer and the fall, and it's everything's really in flux as far as the COVID stuff, but this is where we are right now as far as it pertains to the COVID. Just to be very clear, you are going to still have to be fully vaccinated to be on campus for the summer and the fall. Okay, after that, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll drop mid-fall, but as of right now, for summer and fall, all of our athletes and our students have to be fully vaccinated, our coaches to be on campus. Yeah, Lenny.
And then just to define fully vaccinated, that's the fully vaccinated and the booster?
As of right now, it's just the 2 shots.
So what about for athletics?
Athletics, it is, I believe it is with the booster as well. or you have to test weekly on your own in health services. So the ideal situation would be, is to get everybody fully vaccinated with a booster for athletics. So the district, as far as the general student, is just 2 shots, but the athlete is, if you want to avoid testing, it's the 2 shots in the booster for the NCAA regulations. Okay, and I've been really pushing to get us out of that, but the district's not ready to do that. So I want to make sure that there was no rumors out there, to be very clear.
So the NC2A, that's what they're doing. They're saying the 2 shots and the booster.
Yes. So that's important to understand. And then the fall, I think I heard Lenny say unless it's changed, Lenny, maybe you know more than me because I've been out for a week and a half or so. But the summertime, we still are supposed to have the hour gap, but the fall, the hour gap goes away and the room restrictions go away in the fall.
Okay, maybe I misspoke on that. Nothing changed that I know of.
So the summer, there's still that hour gap. So I know we had to switch a dance class here or there or something. But so that's important to make sure we know. The bond stuff is on track. Yeah, Tara.
Sorry, I missed it. No masks though after the 28th. Is that correct?
You know what? They're struggling with that a little bit because that's what I understand too, Tara. But it's kind of been a lot of discussion. So I'm going to wait for some official communication from the cabinet because it makes it difficult if I am an instructor that wants to teach in person. And do I have the right to say you have to have a mask on in my class?
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So
but maybe not. The instructor could wear a mask, but the students don't have to if it's lifted. So I'm not getting into guessing games. I'm going to wait for official communication from the cabinet on that, just because it's so in flux.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah. What else? As far as that, so the bond stuff is going well. As you can see, things are finishing up. It's pretty exciting to see where the fields are right now. We have some other major changes coming in this summer. I know we're putting brand new scoreboards into the gym. We're putting some banners up in the gym. We're bringing in the company in to do the floor again in the gym, not repaint it, just surface it again and do that. So we keep pounding away on that. We put a new concessions door up in the gym. Soccer field's about ready to get open in the summer. The building's almost done. All the stuff for KAD here in the Towser building is going to DSA. It's at DSA right now, so we're very excited about that. And then there is going to be some, and I need to get more details. So those of you that are teaching this summer, there's going to be some construction going on in Towser in the summer. They've got to do some drilling to check out our foundation. So there's going to be definitely some construction. So I got to get more details on that and get that before summer school starts. But don't be surprised if there's some major drilling going on during summer classes, unfortunately, but it's got to get done. What else? Everything else I think is right on track for the bond. Hopefully you guys are happy. We've had a good year with instructional equipment money, and we have another good year coming up from what the governor's budget, the way I can read it, says. So we've got a lot of great plans to keep improving your guys' teaching modalities and technology in the classroom, and as well as technology in the buildings. So we're really, really pushing hard on that. There were some major changes happen. I just got back from the conference. There's some major changes, and I'm going to highlight a couple of you that are coaches in the room that I'll give you more. I'll give you more details on as I put it together. I don't want to get too far into the weeds today, just because we have a lot of work to do to make sure that we're doing things right. But I do want to give you a couple heads up on some major changes. So yesterday was interesting at the state level. It was our legislation vote, and that's kind of the real reason why I go down. But every single thing that was put up passed. It was an interesting day. So the ones that are major to you and that I wanted to point out today is as of right now, the change in recruiting policy, you can recruit all over the country, all over the world via the phone, internet, Twitter, all those technology ways. You can't get out of state to recruit, but you can call people in Florida. Okay. Yeah, Lenny.
Did it change did they open up where you could go physically, or is that still your county and the neighboring counties?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there.
Okay, sorry.
So right now, so we be clear, out of state recruiting, making first contact is allowed. And I'll get you all the details because there's details about how to do it and when to do it, but making first contact via technology is legal come July 1. Not now, come July 1. Okay. Second part, what Lenny alluded to, is the state now is open to recruiting. Anywhere you want to go in the state for evaluations and contacts and talk like that. So basically, California now becomes if you were at an NCAA school recruiting, you can go anywhere in the state of California and do evaluations, talk to kids, go meet with them down at their homes, whatever you want to do in the whole state of California. Okay. Yeah, Craig. You're on mute.
Is that July 1st or right now?
July 1st.
Okay.
So you guys know, there's a ton of details within that. So the reason why I bring it up to you today is because I want you to be aware and start making a plan, because we have a good recruiting area. So people are going to be coming into our recruiting area from everywhere. So we still want to get a local kids as best possible. Okay. Number 14 that passed was, and I need to get more details, but now you're allowed to give, and this is awesome. One of the things I've been fighting for since I've been here is you're allowed to give meals after every single game, home, away. And then there's going to be wider parameters on snacks and things like that you might be able to give daily, because the food insecurities for our underrepresented athletes are so huge. So we're really taking a huge step forward on that. So that was big. But again, I'll give you more details. Football padded practice passed, 68% got voted on, it passed. So that's going to take a lot of work. So the football coaches in the room and the trainers and the equipment guys, we're going to get together and figure out how to do that. But it passed at 68%. There's got to be some more clarity on how we're going to implement it with limited resources, but we'll figure out a way to do it. Cool thing, I know Jill will like this, and Damon, I thought of you right away. Alumni game date passed. So what that means is you could have an alumni event. This is not for football, by the way. You could have an alumni event during your season. It doesn't have to happen before your season. So I know Damon always tries, it's hard to find games during the week. He can set up a Tuesday, Wednesday game during the bye week and then do an alumni weekend on a Saturday when it's better weather with a golf tournament or something like that, and raise some money. And that alumni game won't count towards your schedule, and it can happen after the scrimmage dates are done. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's really cool for alumni. Yeah.
Good question. Can we do spring football starting July 1st?
Spring football starting July 1st. No. No, you may not.
Sure. I mean, there's no window when you can do spring football.
Yeah, during spring classes.
I think there's some gray.
Good try though.
Coach.
And then there's a bunch of other stuff, like they approved to add that football bye week at the end. So in case we had another tragedy with fires or earthquakes or whatever, and we had to cancel a football game, we would add it to the end of the season. So that was cool. The other cool thing for all the sports is we expanded playoffs to have certain brackets. So all the playoffs will have now, like the NCAA Division I basketball brackets, will be 24 teams. So expanded brackets, not this summer, but the next summer, like baseball will have, instead of the Final Four, it'll be the Final Six. So things like that were pretty cool. It was a very valuable week where we took some big strides. I mean, it's more work for me and the trainers and stuff, but we took some big strides. And the focus was, you could tell coming out of COVID, and you can tell in our department all along. But the focus was what's best for students. And it was pretty awesome to see. We did a lot of good things for students. So anyways, that's my report. I don't know if you guys got any questions.
I do have one more. I do have a question.
Yeah.
It's regarding the dorms.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see if there's anything we should be doing as faculty or as coaches to start getting on maybe a committee or whatever, because I know there's going to be guidelines and who gets in and what. I know that we're going by the basically registration policy, but in terms of, priority and all that kind of stuff. But is there more information that we should know about in terms of cost, completion date, stuff like that? And then, you know, who's going to qualify to get in there?
Yeah, good question. So it's a little bit early, I think, to get all those. Like they've had some projected costs, and I've been going to those meetings. I've been advocating to keep the cost down. It's getting a little bit higher than, not a little bit, it's getting more than I would like and thought it was going to get. It's a little bit early to get some finalized costs. I believe the completion date is 23. So we still have a little bit of time, but it wouldn't hurt if you guys start thinking about that, to get a coaches committee together and start getting some, like, how many rooms would we possibly want reserved for us? What is a great cost? Because I'd love to share that information rather than me guess at it, but having the coaches who are the experts tell me what they want on
Are you
that.
talking fall 23? So that would be, it would be open fall 23?
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I need to check.
That's, that's the kids we're recruiting right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so let me reach out to Pedro. If you guys want to get together or via email and send one of you guys a list of, how many kids you might want and things, like all the things that you're asking, get it to me. I'll make sure Pedro answers them. Yeah, Craig.
Does that come with a meal plan
No.
or anything? Just housing.
So it comes with, from my understanding, it comes with place to lay your head, all the utilities, heat, water, cable, all that stuff, internet, and then there's a place to do laundry, and that's it.
Are they like 2 bedrooms with?
I think they're
For
2-bedroom
two
rooms,
people.
and there's some single rooms as well. But I was hoping to keep it around, I was hoping they were going to keep it around $700 a month, but I think it's encroaching around 9 now.
So there's no cafeteria in this dorm building.
Not that I remember. There's kitchens, shared kitchens.
And then
I don't think there's cafeterias.
has there been any talks of working out some kind of meal plan with the cafeteria in the other building?
Not that I heard. Not that I've heard. But all great questions. You should send me in a list,
Okay.
and I'll try and get answers. Those
Thank
are
you.
great questions. Yeah. Lastly, I forgot. I wanted to make sure, because I know it's getting towards the end of the semester. At least it feels like for me, and I'm starting to get a little like we got a lot to do. But I know we're doing dance hiring. I know we're doing APE and general hiring. I know we have our volleyball full-time hiring going on. I think maybe there was one more I'm missing, but if you need help, ask me. Let's start getting all that finalized dates and stuff like that, because I'm on all of those hiring committees and I got to make sure it fits in my schedule. So let's start nailing down the hiring committees and things like that. If you need help, let me know. But I want to start getting some dates today and next week. And then with the full-timers, the hiring committee that's on that full-time volleyball CAD generalist one, we need to iron dates out and how we're going to do it. I was approved last night if we wanted to switch to in-person interviews, we can, but we need to make that switch quick. I got to get dates to Jane and Dr. Chong. We're the only committee that hasn't secured dates for the semifinalists and finalist interviews. And so we're the only committee that hasn't secured dates. So we got to nail down our dates so I can secure dates with the VP and the president.
Well, I'm waiting to hear back from HR on that. And so I sent them dates. It's the 26th, 27th, and 28th of this month.
Okay.
And there's 6 candidates right now, and they need to schedule, they're going to schedule those. And then once we have that, then we can find out when our last one is and schedule the meeting with Jane. But you might, since that's your conversation with Carolina, that you might look at like Thursday afternoon on the 26th at 28th, like a 3 o'clock meeting with Jane, see if she's available. And then if not, that Thursday, the 28th at 3, maybe Friday at some point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll do that.
There you go.
Lock it in.
Okay.
Yeah. And the only thing is, as of right now, we're scheduled for Zoom with those. If we want to switch to online, remember, we have to give the candidates 2 weeks to make sure they can come. Otherwise, we're going to need to do a combination of both. We can't just all of a sudden switch it if someone can't make it. Okay. All right. That's it for me. Thank you, guys. I'm here if you have questions.
Thanks, Matt. I would just add to that, for you that are on that staffing committee for that position, weigh in on what you want to do, if that's in person or Zoom. I know the preference in the meeting was to try to do it in person. And we didn't know if that was possible, but it was an option on the paperwork, and with approval from the vice president, it is possible. So think about that and get to Matt as soon as possible and let him know what your thoughts are so we can get that dialed in. Thanks, Matt. Let's go ahead and move into committee reports, starting with alphabetically. Let's go AFA. Actually, it'd be Academic Senate. Let's go Academic Senate.
Okay, so we're still, moving our way through the hiring committee policy. Last meeting, we did approve unanimously the options of including students in the hiring process. And there's sort of a list of options, whether that's doing, having them watch teaching demos and giving their feedback. And then the last line of it was that their feedback would be equivalent to any other person on the committee. So kind of giving some more value to their voice. Students really wanted to be on the committee and be voting members. And so they're pretty upset that didn't happen for them. So there's definitely been a lot of sort of backlash from students on that. But we're still making our way through the complete hiring policy. And that's what we spent most of our time on, pretty much.
Thanks, Tara.
Sure.
All right, so next on the list would be AFA. So Cassandra.
Hi, good morning. So on April 28th, AFA is going to open the AFA house and the yard and the front area. We're going to be hosting a meet and greet for all new faculty or all old members alike. So it's just a meet and greet. They'll be sending out a schedule on that and the times, but it's April 28th. All the officers of the union will be there to answer any questions that faculty may have. So you'll be seeing an invite for that. There are 3 open seats on executive council. The executive council provides the faculty member with voting rights. So we encourage our members and non-members to apply for those seats. I don't think that non-members can apply for executive council seats. I think you have to be a member. And then on April 13th, we have our open session from 4 to 5 to hear all member concerns. So we invite you to join us for that and express any concerns you have about what's going on in the transition from online to in person, or any other thoughts or concerns you may have. And then if you're not a member and are considering becoming a member, but have questions about like where your money goes, because there are member dues, union dues. And so if you have questions about where that money goes and how it's used, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to walk you through all of the processes for use of the money and who does what and that kind of thing, give you a lay of the land. So I hope to see you at the April 28th meet and greet at the AFA house. That's it.
All right, thank you, Cassandra. Okay, that would bring us to our EDI committee. And do we have anything to report, Tara, or are we just waiting till we get something organized?
Yeah, we have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday, so to be continued.
Okay. And the last committee report we have is our staffing committee. And so we put the request out there for any new positions to add to the list. And the current list, just so everybody remembers, well, I'll remind you guys, and then I'll tell you what the new ones are. And then I'm going to send out the write-ups with the bullet points to all of you with the meeting notes and the recording. But we would like to have some discussion, if you would like to, about any of these positions for a few minutes. We're ahead of schedule on the agenda, so we do have time for it. But I'll start off with the ones that have already been requested, and that was our head of athletic performance and student success, head softball coach, head men and women's tennis coach, head wrestling coach, strength coach, And then the positions that were added were a full-time head men's and women's water polo coach, athletic trainer, and a kinesiology generalist. So just to remind everybody kind of how this process works, we do research as a committee. We do research on the different positions and try to give you information that you could look at and say and make the best decision possible. It's probably hard for anybody to fully understand the exact makeup of each one of those positions unless it's directly related to what you do within our department. But it is nice to see the bullet points and be able to, because what's going to happen is we're going to do a vote and or a recommendation. It's a vote to make a recommendation. So adjunct faculty, all adjunct faculty will be able to vote, all full-time people will be able to vote. And then that information is sent to Matt, and that helps us make our decision. It will helps Matt make his recommendation for what our next full-time positions could be. And so it's valuable information for Matt, but at the end of the day, it's Matt's decision to forward his recommendation based on his knowledge and his expertise and his perspective in the meetings that he goes through that we're not all able to go to. So, and then from there, it could even be changed from there. So it's a recommendation to a recommendation to a recommendation to a recommendation, but we have a voice in the recommendation. And so I'd encourage you guys to all participate when the time comes to cast your vote. And so that's the process. So Tara, I see your hand up. And so go ahead.
I just wanted to know, I have a document with all the positions and the bullet points to share if anyone wants to review that for questions, or we can just talk
Yeah, how
about.
about if I make you a host real quick?
Okay,
And
or even a co-host or sharing ability or whatever.
there we go.
Okay. Let me try to find it here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, this is when we're supposed to discuss April department meeting. The faculty staffing committee we're going to meet before May 15th to discuss everything and a tentative ranking, but we don't actually vote until we come back over into the fall semester, because anything can change over summer and things like that. And you know, what we thought we might need at the end of the year might change. So starting in August, there'll be sort of like a final review and solidify, and then the faculty staffing committee forwards their recommendation, and then the department gets to vote. And then that goes to the dean by the end of August. So here are the bullet points. This is the athletic trainer that came in, water polo coach, and I'm probably going too fast, kines generalist. So you're gonna forward all this information, right? Yeah. So those are the positions, and then the copy of the procedures below, but just basically it's a timeline of.
So typically you guys with these requests, we've had situations where we've requested one position. We've had situations where we've requested two positions. And so again, your feedback is really, really important on this. And when it comes time to vote, take a few minutes to do it. You know, I'm happy to say that we're getting through. You know, right now our tennis program is kind of on hiatus, and our water polo program is something that is a possibility of us restarting. But as you look at the other positions, we've done a great job, I think, of representing our department at the faculty staffing level and obtaining positions. And so just fired up that some of our women's sports have been getting full-time positions. And you know, I see, just if you guys care, in my opinion, I would now that we're starting to get our coaches all dialed in full-time positions, addressing some of the other needs in the department, in terms of, you know, the athletic success, the generalist, the strength coach, stuff like that, that we could start. We still do have a couple of programs that need head coaches that are full-time. And so I see maybe this go around of maybe having more than one request for our department, and trying to address a couple of different needs if that's possible. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on where we've been going. Do you guys have any questions about the staffing process for Matt or myself or for the staffing committee? All right.
Yeah. Hey, Lenny,
Yes.
I think it's a bit of a disservice to the head coaches that are, that, you know, are currently have the job and there's nobody that's an advocate for them. So basically all these other positions get put away. I don't know why we don't have some type of a, you know, rubric that basically shows, you know, softball, how many contests, how many travel dates. I mean, I left at 10 o'clock yesterday and got back at 9:15. I don't understand how.
Damon, we do that. We do have that. And
Great.
So the staffing committee, so here's what happens. Adjuncts vote, full-time vote, then the staffing committee is actually doing stuff like with number of participants. And actually that information is included in the bullet points in most cases. And so we give equal presentation for every position. We make sure there's the same number of bullet points. We're trying to get the same information for each one that includes the information you're talking about. And so we have eliminated that process where adjuncts have to stand up and say, I want my position to be full-time. It is now from the committee. And so that what you're describing happens.
Perfect.
We're doing that.
Perfect.
Any other questions, you guys? Awesome. So we will, our committee will be meeting and we'll send out the document with the bullet points for each position. And again, remember, as much work as we do on this is a recommendation to Matt, and then Matt's going to make a recommendation, and then they're going to make a recommendation. So we do the best we can to try to make them, you know, something that you guys could look at and say, okay, it's apples to apples. This is going to affect this. It's going to affect this. But it's really hard sometimes, especially when you get like, for example, the generalist position versus a coaching position, or the training position versus a generalist position, or the student athlete success position, because you know, contests and all those types of things don't exist for some of those other positions. And so it is a challenge to find apples to apples. And really, when we have gone through this process in the past, we have really said there's 3 areas that we have coaching, we have generalist, and we have dance. And so if we were going to, you know, really, we're really 3 departments. We're kinesiology, athletics, and dance, and APE, we're 4 departments. And so hypothetically, each one of those small entities within our all of KAD should be having something, you know, should have a something ranked or at least forwarded in the recommendation, because you can't create apples to apples with those different positions. You can't compare an APE full-time position with a coaching position or a faculty position or a dance position. They're all so different. So really there's the 4 areas that are represented. And so you know, this is a process that we go through, but it's always something that it's a living document that could be changed. And if you guys want the process to be different in the future, that would be something that you guys should bring up. But that's kind of how we've done it. And that's how I look at it. When I look at my vote from the staffing committee, I look at the different areas and say, oh, this would be my top choice in this area. This would be my top. And then I think we need to request more than one, so we can address a couple of those areas rather than just go with one. Any other feedback on staffing, you guys? Or comments or questions? All right. Well, do we have any other agenda items or anything that we've missed that anybody would like information on this morning? Yes, Matt.
Thanks, Lenny. I just had a couple more things that were popped in my head that I wanted to make sure that we're on the same page with. Number one, this is a full year review for the PRPP. So it's basically starting from scratch. So historically, since I've been here, there's been 2 PRPPs. One that's the CAD faculty PRPP, and then there's a dean one. And Lenny and I have kind of just meshed it together and have done one. Now there's only one. So there's no more dean one. So there's just a PRPP for CAD. So I'll be starting to work on that. Lenny will be starting to work on that, but I know a few of you have writer's permission. If someone wants writer's permission, let me know. I think Tara does, Cassandra does, me, Lenny. So if you want to do that, but we have to do the whole thing. I mean, every box of it. So let's make sure that we take a look at that sooner rather than later, because I know it's already starting. And then number 2 is I want to piggyback on what Tara said. Just from the conferences last week, as bad as we were being hit with repeatability, and as bad as we were being hit with losing our local degree for CAD, they're envisioning this loss of lifelong learning at the state level in this area, ELOS, as being another major hit to CAD. So we really, I know I paid for us as a cluster to be at the state level. So we are part of part of the academic side of the kinesiology. So as a group, any of us could go there, but we really got to make sure that we are not losing focus on this, from what I understand. I don't know enough about it. I need to get more involved, to be honest. Tara's been the one that's been shepherding it for us, but there was Shelly from DVC's, I think the president of the organization. She was telling me during COVID, there was like over 200 people at meetings. Now we're down to like 40, just because everybody's getting back to normal. But from my understanding is this is another major blow to what we believe is important to us. So we need to make sure that we are getting our ducks in a row and not just shining this on, because all of us are pretty much, need to fight for this for the next generation of coaches and CAD instructors and stuff. So,
this
anyways,
might be an opportunity, Matt and Tara, where, at least our coaches are networked with all the other JCs in the state. And if we could maybe, kind of like we did with the CAD campaign some years ago, where we started sending information and sharing information with other JCs to help. That was when we took the first really big hit, and they said activity classes were going to no longer anyway. So if we could, there might even be worth forming a little subcommittee just to create some information that could be easily sent out to coaches, from coaches, and just say, hey, most of the football coaches I know are involved as either department chairs, or they're on academic senate, or they're on AFA, or they're whatever their union is, and they're involved, and so they have a voice. And so I think that would be, would help, because just for an example, we didn't think that the spring padded practice was going to be as well received as it was. And the coaches association at our state meetings, we made a point that every single coach was going to talk to their AD. Every single coach was going to, figure out what the questions are, and it really helped. It made a difference. So we need some leadership, I think, to be able to have some accurate information that we could send out, just real easy, few bullet points like, hey, spread the word, this is happening. It's going to affect all of us, because it's going to affect every other JC as well.
Yeah, and I think the more we try and fight in-house, I think it's going to be less successful. This is about, like Tara said, I don't know how great paying lobbyists are, but I know it's important, because this is about making sure that people that are voting understand that the public, we got to get to the high schools, we got to get to the junior highs, we got to get the people that actually vote, and let them know, like, this is a nationwide pandemic type thing where we're losing physical activity across the board. And there was a great speaker today at this meeting, and talked about technology and how kids can't focus anymore because they're in front of screens and all this stuff. And it was just like, we got to get to the vote. In my opinion, we got to get to the voters. It's not so much about the CAD faculty and the coaches, because we believe in that stuff, but it's about the voters out there, the general voter out there that can get to the, the politicians that to vote for this stuff. And that's where we got to get. We got to spread the word.
Well, the thing
When I
is,
send- Sorry.
go ahead, Tara.
When I send out the email, I'm going to send the resolution that we wrote, which we spent a lot of time like wordsmithing that. If you have any recommendations, it's going to the academic senate, but it talks about how important with the mental health crisis and the physical health deteriorating, the obesity rate, and how, why would we take out that lifelong learning, self-development area that has nutrition and health and wellness and, sports psychology and all those other areas that can go into that. Why would we say that's not important in a general education pattern? So it's a big deal. And our activity classes are at risk too, because the CSUs, some CSUs for the transfer model curriculum for kinesiology, they still require those 2 PE units of activity. And it's like, you could either do like a fitness class or sport class or whatever it might be. And they're thinking of doing away with that. And if they do away with that, then what is our argument to keep all of our 1.5 unit activity-based classes at the JC level? So they're wanting everyone to kind of follow suit, all the 3, the community college, the UCs and the CSUs. So that's at risk too. So if we lose those 2 things in one sweep with this AB 928, like our discipline is dead.
Well, and you could say goodbye to any future bonds.
Yeah.
We already struggled to pass the last bond because we've eliminated so many opportunities for our community members. And yeah, that's going to stink.
Yeah.
I would think that the administration from a business standpoint would be highly motivated to help make this pass because it's going to be a huge hit financially to the college in more ways than just student enrollment.
Cool. Thank you guys. Thanks, Tara, for shepherding that. My last thing that I forgot to tell you was with approval from HR and just the way that I wanted to go was you guys all know that Jake is stepping down as of July 1 as the head wrestling coach. And I'm going to put Fred Dewar in place for a year as an interim head coach. Fred has got his master's. He's been teaching us adjunct. He's earned it. So Fred is going to be stepping in as our head coach for at least 1 year as an interim and give him a shot at running the program. So.
That's great. I think he's going to do a great job. I don't know if Fred is here, but congratulations. If you're not, if you watch the Zoom video, congratulations. That's pretty awesome. Those of you guys that don't know Fred, he's a really good guy and hard worker. Any other comments or topics that you guys would like to bring up at this point? All right. Well, you guys, thank you for all being here this morning. Like I said, we have just a little more than a month left of the semester. And our last department meeting is, looks like it's May 25th, which is the Wednesday during finals week. And those meetings are always open for new ideas. Man, we could even experiment with something in person somewhere, maybe. How about that? If you have suggestions or you have ideas, let me know and we'll try to make it happen. So other than that, over and out, everybody. Thank you to all that shared information and thank you guys for all that you guys do every day. And we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.